Stubborn Meghan Markle insisted on wearing high heels on the lawn at the recent polo match, which is of course considered inappropriate for a sporting event. Could it be because she's too obsessed with her height? Well, let's find out right now. Welcome back to Kate Middleton and the Queen YouTube channel. Alright folks, before getting into the main story, I want to ask all of you a question. Are any of you obsessed with your height? Now, for me, somebody who is only 5 feet 4 inches tall, I've always been kind of self-conscious about my height, but not overly so. And it doesn't make me feel so guilty that I need to wear high heels at a sporting event on the grass like Meghan Markle, this idiotic woman. And that's what I want to talk about today. So let's review a little information. In her profile, Meghan Markle has stated that she's 5 feet 6 inches tall. But in reality, that seems to be how tall she is when she's wearing high heels. So obviously, we can add that to the long list of things that Meghan has lied about. Recently, she attended a polo match with Harry, and like other events, this was no exception. The high heels were right there on her feet. A pair of purest 105 Napa leather boots worth 565 pounds from one of her favorite brands, Aquazzura. But who on earth chooses to wear high heels on the grass like that? Maybe Meghan Markle really is too obsessed. Maybe she's too self-conscious about her height. We know she didn't choose those shoes because they're practical. So I don't even know. I think Meghan Markle is a lot shorter than she claims to be, because when you see her standing beside Harry, who also wears some heels, she looks tiny. And there's nothing wrong with being short, especially if you are a woman. But Meghan just can't help herself. Whenever there's an opportunity to lie, she takes it. So as I said before, I'm 5 feet 4, and never once has it occurred to me that I need to lie about how tall I am or that there's anything wrong with my height. And I usually don't wear heels, especially not at my age. If I do, it's just a little tiny kitten heel or something like that. This woman's obsessions are absolutely out of this world. So I would guess that in reality, Meghan Markle's height is about like mine. She's probably somewhere around 5'4". Now, she wants to claim to be taller, but of course she can't get away with that. 5'6", though, is a real stretch. So Harry is 6'1", and when she stood beside Harry, even though she was wearing heels, she looked absolutely miniature. Just looking at the photos in that article, it's obvious that there's no way Meghan is 5'6". If it were true, the 4-inch heels would put her at about 3 inches shorter than Harry, and that's certainly not what we saw. Now, Harry's shoes for once look like they're pretty flat. In the past, he has been known to wear heels, but maybe on this occasion he wasn't. But anyway, even if they added about an inch of height, he wouldn't be towering over her like that. So that's why she had to wear those stupid shoes to a polo match. She didn't want to look short next to Harry or her friend Delphina. Now, there's nothing at all wrong with being small, being short. She would have been so much more comfortable if she'd opted for a nice pair of sneakers or sandals. So after looking at the photos and after doing my own little calculations, I've decided she's about 5'3.5" or maybe 5'4", so here's why I believe that. It has been widely reported that William stands at 6'3", and this doesn't appear to be controversial. I think he really is that tall. Now, you can tell by looking at photos of him, he is very tall, and he doesn't have to wear lifts in his shoes like some people we know to boost his height. And he's also not desperately clawing at any sense of dignity. So you can tell in most photos he looks to be about 6'4" because of the shoes that he's wearing. They don't have lifts, it's just normal for shoes to add that much. So for years, Harry's height was estimated to be around 6 feet tall. But recently, of course, he's had this bizarre growth spurt. Now he's looking taller. People on the internet, random sources, I guess we could say, have been claiming that he's 6'2", but I don't believe it. If you look at photos with both men standing together on a flat surface, the same distance from the camera, not wearing hats, after they're grown, now he's 2 inches shorter than his brother, if not 3 inches. So even if we are being very generous and saying that Harry is just 2 inches shorter, that would make him 6'1". So let's compare that to Meghan Markle's height. I looked for similar kinds of photos of them standing beside each other, and the ones where we know how high her heels are. The engagement photos are a perfect example. accounting 1 inch for his shoes and 1 inch for that ridiculous hair, so visually Harry maybe is about 6'3". Her heels are just over 4 inches, and I looked at these photos very carefully, and I used her heel height as a rough kind of ruler in the distance shots. So I think there is at least a 7-inch difference in their heights. You can see the few shots where both are standing up straight, he is a lot taller than her. So if we do some calculations, that means Harry's looking like he's about 6'3". And then Meghan Markle, she must be only 5'4", because if we account for the 7 inches difference, that means there's no way she's 5'6". I mean, she truly is obsessed with height, and lying about her height on her profile, that just makes her look even more like a liar. I suspect the National Polo Center, where the event was held, has a drop-down section under Spectator Visitor Guide, and it can give you some information about what kind of clothing is best to wear. So here's what they wrote. Number 1, see the above photos for representative photos on site for men and women. Number 2, attire for Sunday polo can be dressy, with men wearing collared shirts and women wearing dresses. Wedges are preferred over heels, as a slim heel will get stuck in the grass if you participate in the divot stomp. It's also important to remember that polo fields are really expensive to maintain. I'm sure they don't appreciate someone walking around with stilettos. So they ride, as with all equine-related sports, the safety of the horse is paramount. So the condition of the sward, and more importantly, the state of the ground, is critical when playing. Alright, so next up, let's talk about the photo with Delphina. So how tall is she? I mean, if Meghan Markle is 5'6" with those high heels, then Delphina would have to be at least 5'10", I would think. Delphina would need to be at least 6 feet tall for this photo to even make sense according to what Meghan claims in her profile. Well, you can see who the dominant one is here. It's pretty funny too. I mean, what about this hypothesis too that Meghan ran away all upset after one single season because they had some big fight between the wives? And Delphina, I guess, isn't a big fan of her. But of course, Meghan Markle is hoping to get some free PR in the meantime. And I don't know what's going on. I mean, I think it's all just a big dramatic mess with Meghan Markle being the ringleader. Delphina, though, knows what she's doing. She comes from a lot of money. She went to boarding school. She knows all about these mean girl cliques. Now, she is a mother first, and then she's an athlete, and she's also a loving wife. And I'm sure she hates Meghan, but she can handle somebody like her. Delphina, I think, is not out of her element. She knows what to do. Meghan Markle is nothing compared to her. She can't compete. And I think it's just because Meghan is so stupid and she simply doesn't know any better. And I want to make it clear, I'm not making fun of Meghan for being short. I mean, I'm short too. That's not what's funny here. What's funny is that Meghan Markle is such a liar. I mean, she claims to be taller than she really is. What is this woman not lying about? She lies about her age, her height, even her children. And obviously, Harry is just as bad as she is. I mean, Harry's already tall. What is wrong with him? Why does he feel like he has to use lifts? You can see, though, these varying differences in height between Harry and William. There's no way that Harry had a growth spurt in his 30s. So what? Do Harry and Meghan believe that height has something to do with power and popularity, or is it all about looking good for photos? I think among other things, Meghan has always wanted to be a supermodel, but unfortunately, look at that boxy body and the chicken legs. There's no way. She probably admires those Amazon women like Helena Christensen and Cindy Crawford. I mean, she wants to be a Victoria's Secret angel. Meghan, honey, it was never going to happen, and now it certainly isn't. There are plenty of men who prefer shorter women, petite women, and there are many beautiful actresses who aren't tall at all. Winona Ryder, Christina Ricci, for example. I mean, if you want to search for actresses who are more petite, they're easy to find. Why couldn't Meghan Markle have crafted a role for herself following in their footsteps? Why does she always have to try to be something she's not? She's always trying to compete with Catherine. I think that's one big problem. And as we know, Catherine is tall, but naturally so. I mean, Meghan Markle is convinced that she's so tall, she's got legs for days. No, she just has chicken legs. She often chooses to wear clothing that would look good on people with supermodel body types, but they don't look good on her because that's not who she is. And then she just thinks she can wear this stuff with heels and that's gonna work. So maybe Meghan Markle needs to be happy with what she's got in life. I mean, that is her biggest problem. She's always wanting more. She should just try to be satisfied for once. I mean, she can make her height something special that could be her personal touch. But I don't think Meghan is ever going to think of that because she's too greedy. She's always grasping for something she will never have. Alright friends, this video is probably already a little too long, so I'm going to end it here. I hope the information I just shared with you is useful, and I would love to hear more about your opinions. They're so valuable because they really do enrich our discussions, and they help us see topics from different angles. Thank you so much for watching, goodbye for now, and I'll see you again soon on Kate Middleton and the Queen channel.